Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Authentic and The Beard. The best television show not on TV. Big shout out to my dog one time. Y'all know what it is. We got some big matchups this week. All of the NFC East teams are back in effect this week. Nobody on a bye. You got the Green Bay Packers traveling to MetLife to take on the New York Giants. We got a game in Madrid with the Washington Commanders taking on the Miami Dolphins. Detroit Lions, in possibly the game of the week, are going to be traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Cowboys look to get back on track, going to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders one time. And then tonight, y'all know my favorite vibes on Amazon Prime. Turn that thing on Prime Vision one time. We got the New York Jets taking on the New England Patriots. Should be a interesting matchup. I think it's a pretty easy one to determine who's going to win in that one. But more importantly, we're going to be talking about the NFC East. So let me bring in the best co-host in the country, my brother from another mother. Big shout out to my Dukes on a big losing streak here.
The Beard is in the building. There, huh?
I had to.
Oh my God.
I had to. I mean, we on a losing streak as well too. But how you feeling after that performance last week, or that lack of a performance last week from the Washington Commanders? In another loss for you guys, I believe is that 5 straight?
I've lost count. Listen, I'm having trouble with time as of late. Time, the concept of time is just not working well with me. Like everything. Like I was going you sit on your couch and I got 30 minutes, right? And then you're like, you look at your phone and you're like, damn it, I only have 10 minutes. I need 15.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. No,
That's facts,
time is not working. And then
adulting.
It's just it's not right. I need time. The other day, my wife said, "Is there anything you need from the store?" I said, "Yeah." Can you give me some thyme? And she looked at me like, "What are you cooking?" I was like, "I'm not time. THYME time. Like I need more time. I need time." And then I'm like doing my notes, and I'm like, "The New England Patriots are 8-2. How did we get this far into the season?
7 straight victories. It's kind of crazy."
The New England Patriots, by the way, are on track to have the easiest schedule, not of this year, in NFL history.
Yeah, when we get to that game, I had a couple of notes and a couple of nuggets about that too, because that 7-game winning streak is a little bit fugazi, just a little bit. But they're handling business.
They're the Commanders of 2024. That's what they are. So shout out to the New England Patriots. But listen,
a lot younger.
Maybe.
No, 100%. A lot younger.
Shout out our boy Kyle Williams, who caught a touchdown last week.
Yeah, a major one, 70-something yards, man. Those are kind of explosive plays you look forward to from your young players. And the Giants aren't, we don't have any young players actively still on the roster that can score those kind of plays. But, it is what it is at this point.
This is a crazy week. Dan Quinn's taking over play calling on the defensive side. I still have no idea what Joe Witt is officially doing now at this point.
He's chilling.
He's just chilling. Is he like what do they call those people that help other people?
Water boy?
No. Because
a consultant. A consultant.
There we go. I always thought a consultant would be a great job because you don't really have a job, but you got a job and you get paid for it. So
No, consulting is absolutely a job, and I won't spend too much time talking about it. But all too often, clients call me up for advice, and I'm just like, bro, we've been on the phone for 3 hours now.
It's gonna be a fee for that, okay?
It's gonna be a fee.
And you guys fired your head coach. We got more injuries.
Yeah.
The NFC East outside of the Philadelphia Eagles are like 10-87-1 or something like that. So
people are giving up, man. It's about that time for the NFC East right now. I know Dallas Cowboys fans are still hanging on by a last thread here, but Commanders and Giants fans.
Listen, I'm still hanging on. I just saw a tweet from a guy's like, "Is something wrong with me? Like I still looking at ways where the Commanders can be a wild card team." And in the back of my mind, I'm like, "No, I don't. You know what? I don't think."
Oh no, something is wrong with him. It's a wrap for y'all.
No.
It's a wrap for y'all.
Really? You think so?
Yes. I would bet some good money on it with odds in your favor that
we might be running out of time
in games.
But you never know. This could be a turning point for the Washington Commanders in Madrid this week.
Possibly. It's been looking pretty bad for you guys, and I think this year's been just a bit of a wake-up call. I won't even say a change for the worse, but just a wake-up call. It's like, you need depth, and New York Giants and the Washington Commanders had to find out about that in the worst ways. But let's get right into it, man, so we're not here too long today. Let's get right off into this matchup with the New York Giants, man, welcoming the Packers to MetLife Stadium with Jameis Winston getting the start for the New York Giants. And we can't start this show off without talking about what draft class was this? The 2015 draft class, picks 1 and 2 starting for the New York Giants and for the Washington Commanders. This week. And let's get off into this first matchup, though.
From the jump. We have another opportunity. Put that the line. That's on 3. That's on me. 1, 2, 3. It's too beautiful out here. Wasting opportunity. Come on inside the tall for the first down. Let's go. Let's fight for each other. Here we go.
Jameis Winston, bro, he can't even get his words together when he's trying to say that speech.
He sounds like the Beard sometimes.
He's geeked up, dog. He's straight geeked up. Packers coming in, man, 5-3-1. New York Giants sitting at 2-8 is not a good look right now. You can basically expect not a lot of primetime games from the New York Giants. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got the Packers by 7 in this one. Over-under is at 43.5. Looking at last week, Packers lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in whatever the opposite of a barn burner is.
I don't know what that was. Just disgusting. Monday night, Thursday night games, or Sunday night games. It's all gone back to the poop pan.
A little bit. We've had some pretty decent Thursday night games this year, but that one I got to put a little emphasis on the weather in that one. It's starting to get cold, so we got to expect some of these kind of games. The Giants lost to the Bears in cold weather as well. They happened to score a couple of more points than the Eagles and the Packers did, though. Bears beat the New York Giants 24-20. Last meeting, the Giants beat the Packers 24-23 in 2023, led by yours truly, Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito had 71 rushing yards in that game, just 158 passing yards, but most importantly, did not turn the ball over, had 1 touchdown through the air. The Giants, I was making fun of the Beard, 5-game losing streak for the Commanders, 4-game losing streak for our New York Giants. The Packers are also on a losing streak as well. They've lost 2 straight. Giants have beat the Packers in both of the last 2 meetings. So we got a winning streak against the Green Bay Packers. We don't have a winning streak this year yet, but we have a winning streak against the Packers. The Packers did win 3 straight before the Giants won the last 2 meetings. But the Giants have won 5 of the last 8 dating back to 2012. We haven't played the Packers that much in the last decade plus here, but we have played them a good bit in the last couple of seasons here. Graham Gano back on the IR. Brian Dable fired on Monday. This is not new territory for Brian Burns, who is dealing with his 4th midseason coaching change in his NFL career. Mike Kafka is going to take over as the interim head coach. Likely will keep his duties as far as calling plays. Lil Jordan Humphrey. Sounds like a guy you probably wouldn't bring up on today, but he was stolen from us by the Denver Broncos off the practice squad. The Giants, in return, kind of made a bit of a panic move. We just signed Isaiah Hodgins off the Steelers practice squad. I do think that Mike Kafka was probably looking at Lil Jordan Humphrey being a guy that would be elevated, considering how Jalen Hyatt has been, I want to say, utilized this year, but how he has not been utilized this year. But we shall see. Jameis Winston is getting the start here, and I think that this is the biggest change that the New York Giants have had to deal with pretty much on the entire season here, with Jackson Dart playing really good football, especially with his legs. Jameis Winston's going to bring a very different skill set. Now, all of those moves transpired before the lead up of this game, and I'm just wondering if any of those moves are going to be able to help the New York Giants from stopping the fucking run. And none of those moves speak any volume towards the defensive side of the ball that's allowing 152.1 rushing yards per game, which is 31st in the NFL right now, 5.5 yards per carry, which is dead last in the NFL right now. We all know over the last 3 games, we talked about this on the Giant Overreaction, 202 rushing yards per game, which is not dead last in the NFL over the last 3 games. But Giants' rush defense just has been in can't-get-right mode, I'd say, for the better part of the last decade, but definitely for the 2025 NFL season. We talked about coming into Week 10 how the New York Giants had allowed the most explosive running plays in the entire National Football League. It was 43. They allowed 5 more last week against the Bears. It's at 48 now. They're still in first place. And the Giants' defense has allowed 20-plus yard rushes 12 times this season. That's also most in the NFL. When we're talking about explosive runs, we're talking about of 10 or more yards, but the Giants are also allowing the most runs over 20 yards this season as well. The Bears came in last week, rushed for 171. The Giants have allowed 150 rushing yards in 6 of their 10 matchups this season, and it's just been the big Achilles heel for the New York Giants team. I don't even want to say just the defense. It's our Achilles heel for the team, because if we were stopping the run just a little bit better, I feel like the New York Giants record would look just a little bit better as well. But the Packers, considering the talent that they have over there, they have not been running the ball that great this year. 111 yards on the ground per game, which is 20th in the NFL. And Josh Jacobs, I think, is the biggest surprise, and this is probably why people on the Giant Overreaction were telling me that Cam Scatterbu was a better running back than Josh Jacobs at this particular moment in time, is because Josh Jacobs has not breached 100 yards. And yes, it is absolutely fucking crazy talk. It's all love.
I love Cam Scatterbu as much as the next guy, right?
Hey, and I love my crazy cousins too, but they still family. You feel me?
It's a little bit of a stretch there.
It's a lot of bit of a stretch there. But the Packers, they do still commit to the run. They do have the 8th most rushing attempts per game in the National Football League, 28.3 per game. And that's a lot, considering that Jordan Love is not necessarily known as a, running type of quarterback, dual threat type of quarterback. When he does buy time, it's to buy time to make plays down the field. But the Giants defense, you have to keep in mind that they have to be successful in the second half stopping the run. Last week, and me and Abir briefly talked about this off air about Tyrone Tracy, how the Giants' rushing attack, their own, struggled last week in the first half, only 2 rushing yards. But in the second half, you saw Tyrone Tracy get it together, but also the Bears got it together as well. They were averaging 6.2 yards per carry at the half, and they continued that number throughout the rest of the game. But the Giants' defense has allowed successful plays on 61% of rushing attempts in the fourth quarter this season, dead last in the NFL. So there's not a lot of hope as far as stopping the run this year. So we're just going to have some fun on Sunday. And I think Jameis Winston brings a lot of fun to the table. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jameis Winston out there. Not as much as I would like to see Jackson Dart in the lineup. But with Jameis Winston getting the start, I think a lot of the people in our community already know that we did a big comparison of all these quarterbacks that were free agents in the offseason, from Russell Wilson to Joe Flacco to even Daniel Jones and also Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston in his last 17 starts has over 4,000 yards. He has 30 touchdowns through the air, a completion percentage of 61.2%, and 263 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, which is pretty decent, but 20 interceptions. That's not going to get it done, and that's where the fun might stop, actually, is if Jameis Winston starts turning the ball over. But when you look at Jameis Winston's last 17 games, the crazy part about it is that 10 of those games were in New Orleans. So we're talking all the way back to 2022, right? And then you look at some of the games with the Cleveland Browns, where he had 7 starts with the Cleveland Browns in 2024, but 2 different quarterbacks, really. He was 2-5 with the Browns. He had 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions with the Browns, 2 lost fumbles, and a quarterback rating of 79.8. When you look at the 10 starts with the New Orleans Saints, he had a record of 6-4, an actual winning record, 18 touchdowns to just 8 interceptions and 1 lost fumble. The quarterback rating jumps up from 79.8 all the way to 93.1. But like I said, his last start with the New Orleans Saints was in 2022. So that is a long fucking time ago. Now, I do think it's going to be a taller task for the offensive line to protect Jameis Winston versus what we're seeing out there with Jackson Dart, who can buy time with his legs. He's extremely decisive, has not taken many unnecessary sacks on the season. And when you looked at his game, going up against the Chicago Bears against Caleb Williams, you saw 2 young quarterbacks that show you what the future of the league is. You need quarterbacks that are going to be able to buy time. Caleb Williams was under pressure all day long last week. He was not sacked at all in that game. And same thing goes for Jackson Dart, who was only sacked 2 times last week. Jameis Winston has been sacked 45 times in his last 17 starts. He lacks mobility, so we know that this could be a very challenging game for the New York Giants offensive line. And then you just look at the 20 interceptions in the last 17 starts. That's another thing to keep your eyes on, because that's more than 1 a game. So I do expect that Jameis Winston is going to turn the ball over. And when you look at his last start was in 2024 before the Cleveland Browns ultimately ended up benching him. It was December 15th against the Kansas City Chiefs, and this stat line is not good. He was 16-25 for 146 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, sacked 5 times. The Browns ended up losing that game 21-17, and Winston had a quarterback rating, not to be confused with QBR. His quarterback rating was 40.2 out of 153.8. So I know a lot of Giants fans are extremely excited about Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson, and I don't share that same excitement. I got to keep it real. But I am looking at this as we're at least going to be able to get some proof here. We'll find out. I went back and I looked at my video when I was detailing some of the free agent quarterbacks that were coming in for visits. And the puzzling part about the way that the New York Giants handled this, and I didn't realize this at the time, they brought in Russell Wilson for his first visit around the exact same time as they brought in Jameis Winston for his first visit. So I think that they kind of knew that both quarterbacks were an option. Even when they signed Jameis Winston to his $4 million deal, AAV, 2 years, $8 million, they already knew that Russell Wilson was a possibility. Looking back at it in hindsight, even though I was extremely excited to bring in Russell Wilson as the quarterback for the Giants, I do think that I overlooked that particular part, is that they were bringing in both of these quarterbacks at the same kind of particular time. So that's kind of another blemish on Joe Schoen's tenure, if you ask me, just kind of double dipping at the quarterback position. There has been reports that the Russell Wilson move was more on Joe Schoen. I don't know if we'll ever know. Hopefully we'll finally get some details about that. But bottom line on Jameis Winston, 20.1 points per game in Jameis Winston's last 17 starts. That's not going to get it done. Both wins for the New York Giants this year, they scored at least 21 points. Both of them were with Jackson Dart. Obviously, the Giants, their quarterbacks right now have been sacked the 7th most amount of times. That's even with Jackson Dart starting as many games as he has. 31 times the New York Giants quarterbacks have been sacked, and they're facing the 8th most pressure as far as rate goes. When you look at pressure rate around the league, Giants quarterbacks are being pressured on 37.7% of their dropbacks. 147 pressures allowed in 10 games is the 5th most amount of pressures allowed in the NFL. So I don't think that this spells a lot of opportunity here for Jameis Winston. And when you look at the weapons around him, I know Tyrone Tracy broke the 14-game streak of having under 60 rushing yards last week, but you look at the wide receivers, you look at the weapons, there's just not a lot to go around here for Jameis Winston, and I honestly expect that he's going to struggle in this game. But what do you see moving forward?
I mean, he's going to stand back there and sling the rock, I feel like, right? Like, you said, let's just have some fun. I mean, at this point, you have to do what you. I mean, there's not a lot that you can do. You can only do what you can with what you have. I think
people are clocked out, bro. Like the Giants could go out there and get blown out, and I don't even think a lot of people are going to care at this point in time in the season, because the season is basically done for us.
It is, and it's what the tough part is, and I face this obviously in certain situations with the Commanders, is when you're in these sort of spots as a team, there's certain things that you kind of want to look at or look forward to, or something that you're monitoring. And it's difficult because your 3 stud, young offensive players are all out, right? So it's not like you're assessing the quarterback moving forward, or, you're getting some reps for Scadaboo, or, you're building this relationship between Neighbors and Dart. You don't have any of that to kind of look at, right? Like you're looking at guys that are kind of just like plug and play now at this point, really, offensively.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys that really might not be a part of the future for the Giants either.
Exactly. And so, like, that's what makes it even more difficult, I think. Now, there's some interesting numbers here as far as this matchup with the Giants and the Packers. I do think Jameis Winston probably throws the ball close. I put 35 plus in my notes. I think he throws the ball somewhere north of 30. So I'd say 35 to 40 times in this game. I think the Green Bay Packers run game bounces back also. I think what bothered me the most about the Scadaboo Josh Jacobs comparison is that Josh Jacobs, I don't think this is more on Josh Jacobs as it is the offensive line. The Green Bay Packers offensive line has struggled a bit this year. And some of that is due, obviously, to injury, but they have struggled. I think this is an opportunity for Josh Jacobs to kind of have that bounce back game. You talked about that Giants run defense already. And before we got on air, I told Authentic, I said, I got a question. There's some of these numbers aren't making sense. Yeah. And you answered my question without me even having to answer my question when you talked about the insane amount of explosive run plays that the Giants defense has allowed. The Giants defense has the 10th most tackles for loss, right? 10th most tackles for loss, but they also have the 7th lowest sack percentage
Yeah.
They're only sacking the quarterback on a drop backs 5.6% of the time.
Yeah, and that's been the theme for us, over the past couple of weeks is we can't turn the pressures into sacks. Like we're getting a ton of pressures on quarterbacks, but we're just not translating that into getting the quarterback on their back.
And then all those tackles for losses, it's like you're doing well because obviously those tackles for losses aren't necessarily the sacks because you have such a low sack percentage.
Yeah.
But then you look at those tackles for losses and you're like, okay, well then they're on the running back. But if we have all these tackles for losses, why are we giving up 152.1 yards per game? Because of all those explosive runs.
And rushing attempts is also a thing too. You gotta look at it. The Giants are a 2-win team. So late in games, teams are just running the ball against them. That total number, it reminds me of the pressure number because when you look at the Giants as far as how much pressure they get on quarterbacks from a rate standpoint versus the amount of total pressures, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
So you got to the attempts from a passing standpoint and from a rushing standpoint are definitely important.
The other thing that stood out to me that was pretty crazy was the New York Football Giants have allowed the most first downs in the entire NFL this year. They have allowed 230 first downs this year.
Yeah. That number actually seems like we should be leading in that category.
Yeah.
Because that's been the Giants' problem. Third down defense ain't been good. First and second down teams are running the ball on us at a high clip. We came into last week averaging or allowing over 6 yards per carry on first down, which you're not gonna that's not gonna win you a lot of games. It's not gonna stop a lot of offenses.
And it'll be interesting to see because I think Jameis Winston will have time as long as the Giants' offensive line can handle the initial front of the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, you know who's on that team. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, well, the Green Bay Packers actually have the 5th lowest blitz percentage per dropback in the NFL this year. They're only blitzing on 18.5% of quarterback dropbacks this year. So
and that 18 is super low. Super low. Yeah,
right?
But they don't need a blitz when you got pass rushers like they have over there. You don't need a blitz. Yep. And you got the back half of that secondary too, man. They've been balling out as well.
So now it's on like almost this flip side, right? The New York Giants also have the second worst red zone defense in the NFL. It's 70.6%. Green Bay, not even just on a little bit of a tweak of that stat, they have, throwing out the percentage out the window, they have the 5th most red zone touchdowns of any team in the NFL this year. So that's going to be a big area right there, if you want to try and stay in this game. Green Bay's offensive line, as good as they have, as bad as they've been recently as far as run blocking, and this also is obviously a little bit on Jordan Love, and you talked a little bit about that with the mobility. The Green Bay has they're tied for the 3rd fewest sacks allowed in the NFL. They've only allowed 14 sacks all year. So, that's another thing where it's going to be heavy on this New York Giants defense, as always, which is obviously has been a struggle for the Giants this season, which is one of the things that we thought was going to be the strong points of the New York Giants this season was that defense and that defensive front. And so now you're just kind of looking at where do the Giants have an edge? What can they do to possibly stay in this game and win in this game? I think Jameis Winston's just going to have to – maybe this is the game where we finally see some attacking down the field a little bit more so than – because I know that was something that we talked about in the beginning of this season. Like I ran those numbers on the emphasis that the New York Giants had preseason on throwing the ball down the field. And, it's kind of – you've seen glimpses of it.
But, they had a lot of success last week down the field as well. 2 big ones to Theo Johnson, 2 big ones in the first half to Darius Slayton as well. Wanda Robinson sprinkled in has been creating some explosive plays as well. But I like what you were talking about with Jordan Love with, being one of the lesser sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. But last week, the Eagles put a ton of pressure on him. He was the 8th most pressured quarterback last year, 40.5% of his dropbacks, which is his highest of the season versus any singular team. On the season, though, he's pressured on 32.9% of his dropbacks, which is 19th in the NFL. So, Jordan Love is a quarterback that knows how to deal with pressure well because he doesn't have to set his feet to make throws down the field. That's one thing. When he's throwing off his back foot, it reminds me of Eli Manning. It reminds me of Patrick Mahomes even at times. And I think that'll be the challenge for the New York Giants defense. The interesting part about the pressures when you brought that up, the front that we are relying on to be the front running unit is sort of living up to the name, because the Giants, like I was telling you, they have the 7th most pressures in the NFL right now at 130. 103 of the 130 come from the big three in Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter, though. Dexter Lawrence only has 10 pressures on the season. Each of those three guys have 30 at least on the season. So you're getting what you expected from that unit as far as the pressures go. But when it comes to the sacks, you look at Brian Burns with 11, Kayvon Thibodeau, the next man in line, with 2.5. The Giants only have 21 sacks on the year, and Burns has more than half of them. So it's just the consistency across the board for that defensive line that's not really there when you talk about getting after the quarterback.
And it'll be interesting to see if Green Bay tries to attack that middle. Maybe the pressure's not coming from the middle, but it'll be interesting to see if they try to attack the middle as far as, rebounding with that run game. If they want to do some more of that in between the tackle running, or if they want to try and
outside,
do some edge rush, because
that's where the Giants are weak,
That's where the Giants are weak, just like the Commanders. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. I do think Jordan Love missed Tyler Kraft a bit in that game.
Or Tucker Kraft,
Tucker Kraft, yeah. And so it's, Luke Musgrave he's a not a bad tight end. He's not Kraft, obviously, but he's good too. It'll be interesting to see if they can start working some more with Luke Musgrave. And Dobbs got banged up a little bit in that game against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Dobbs.
Golden hasn't really. They haven't really utilized Golden much. It'll be interesting to see.
And they try to get him involved, and it just ain't working for Marcus. And he's dealing with some injuries right now too. He's questionable coming into this week.
So this is sort of like the same thing that Jordan Love has always been dealing with. It's like this kind of just rotation of weapons for him, and they've done a fairly good job with it. That loss, obviously, to the Panthers was a bad loss, and then obviously the game against the Philadelphia Eagles is a game they could have won and probably should have won. Some questionable stuff going on at the end of that game, obviously, but it's an opportunity for a good bounce back game here.
Yeah, the fourth down call from LaFleur where they got the I think it was illegal formation or something like that, and still didn't get it. Just a debacle.
And so it's going to be an interesting game. I don't think if you look at this game on paper, you probably think it's going to be more of a blowout game. To me, it's just I'm glad you brought up the points per game for Jameis Winston, because I don't know if they can even get to that point. I feel, and it's nothing against Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston. He's everybody's favorite quarterback, right? And I think there's an opportunity there for him to put up 400 yards and a couple touchdowns.
It'd be a miracle.
But the turnover possibility is hard for me to grasp at. Even though Green Bay is not really big as far as turnover, the interceptions, it's not as that number
not
for them
year.
is not as big this year as it was last year. Obviously, Xavier McKinney had a fantastic season last year as far as forcing turnovers and getting interceptions. I think they're bottom 5 in interceptions defensively this season, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be curious to see if they can capitalize and get that interception if Jameis Winston does make the mistake. But I think this game actually is kind of close, if you're ready to hear my final score.
Yeah, I don't think this game's going to be close, though, but go ahead. I really don't. I mean, the Packers, I'll explain it, but it just I don't see a close game.
I got Green Bay 27, New York Giants 17.
That's what you meant by close. Okay, that's not close. That's borderline a blowout right there. If they get to 14, we talking, hey, y'all weren't in the game there. So 27-17. The thing for me is that I think the New York Giants could benefit from a little bit of bad weather, like some wind, just some of that at MetLife would help out. Get it sloppy like how we saw with the Philadelphia Eagles last week. And I think the Eagles did a good job of keeping Jordan Love and that offense in check, not allowing them to get those necessary explosive plays to really try to take that lead to the next level. But we're talking, back-to-back losses for the Packers right now. And I just think that kind of emphasis is going to have them come into MetLife ready to kick some ass. Yeah. And, with the New York Giants, you look at Jameis Winston, right? And a lot of people, I see people in the chat talking about it too, like that Jameis might surprise and all this stuff, right? I've watched basically every one of his snaps from the last 2 seasons when I was looking at these quarterbacks. And we all know Jameis Winston just plays the game a little bit too reckless. He's not scared of nothing. We've even heard NFL analysts this week saying that if you are somebody that's playing in the secondary of the Green Bay Packers, get ready to get your chance to get your hand on some footballs here, because Jameis Winston is absolutely going to do that. I think the big difference here is that when he was in Cleveland, and the record was 2-5 in those 7 starts with Cleveland, which weren't good, which shows that he doesn't win games, at least as of lately in his career. The big difference there, though, when you saw him throwing the ball down the field, was he had a decent option at the wide receiver 1 position in Jerry Jeudy. You know, and he also had a very great security blanket at the tight end position in David Njoku, who really came alive when Jameis Winston came in the lineup last year.
Jeudy too.
Yeah, he got the productivity out of Jeudy for sure. We don't have that here in New York. I don't look at our tight end situation with Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger, who's banged up but should be back out there. He was limited in practice this week. I don't look at those two guys as the same kind of security blanket as David Njoku. So I think the Giants are going to struggle. If the Packers come out here and play to their capabilities, they should be able to score 30 points on this Giants defense. It should all start with the run with Josh Jacobs, even if they're not getting a lot of yardage, and then a little bit of play action and stretching the field and getting those explosive plays from the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to take the Packers in this one 31-. Giants could possibly, I mean, you got to think all their offense was generated from Jackson Dart, basically.
Yeah, that's what it's crazy to think about. Running, passing, scoring, first down.
I think you might get an explosive from a Darius Slayton, maybe a few things from Wan'Dale Robinson. I'll give the New York Giants 2 touchdowns to just off the strength, you know. I'll go 31. It'll be a late touchdown where they go for 2. I'm going to go 31-13.
31-13.
Yeah, in favor of the Green Bay Packers.
That's not close.
That's not close at all.
Big shout out to our guy, your guy, everybody's guy, B-Rogue with the $5 super chat. Says if the Giants and Commanders go on some type of winning streak, which if you know the beard, if there's a chance, there's a chance, okay?
If they can do it, we can do it.
I am bringing you both up 95 for a matchup on the 14th of December. Pin that. Listen.
B-Rock been talking about that too.
If we go undefeated, both of us, until that game,
we'll consider it.
We might pack up the CRV and head on up. Appreciate you, B-Rock.
Yeah, man. Big shout out my dog B-Rock one time.
Big shout out to Frank Concepcion with the $4.99 super chat. Do you think with this possibly being Shane's last chance to get the right coach, that they go with an experienced one rather than a first timer? So let me ask you this: are we 100% sure that Joe Shane is going to be here in the offseason?
They said he's leading the head coaching search, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, well, that changes my answer.
Yeah, and they informed him of their decision, the owners. They informed Joe Shane of their decision to fire Brian Daboll, but they're allowing Joe Shane to lead the search for the next head coach.
That's a problem.
It's a little suspect for sure. I do think that they go with experience. We've just hired too many coaches as of late that are guys that didn't have the experience, from Pat Shurmur, Ben McAdoo, to Joe Judge, to Brian Daboll. All those guys were basically, I think Pat Shurmur might have been the only one that wasn't a first-time head coach. So I do think we go with a little bit more of experience, but also keep in mind that Joe Shane, his network is going to be very important for who gets hired next, especially if they decide, or lean towards a particular candidate before the season comes to an end. If I'm them, I'm not hiring or even thinking about hiring anybody before the playoff teams are finished, the championship weekend is finished, and you can take a look at some of the candidates that are going to be on some of these ball clubs that are winning games right now as a coordinator or whatever position they're in.
Yeah, because I think that's the other thing you have to take into consideration is you can only take from what the market gives you, so you really don't know until the end of the season and what guys might get let go, what guys are on the market, because as a guy who comes from a franchise of the retread, you gotta tread lightly, pun intended.
Yep.
Okay, because that then you kind of what are you doing? Are we going after Mike McCarthy's? Are we?
A lot of people have been throwing shade towards Mike McCarthy, and I mean, Mike McCarthy wins games, man. You know, like I took a little gander at his whatever last 2 decades or whatever. There's only like 5 losing seasons on the whole entire resume. Like he's a good coach. It's just about getting over that hump and winning Super Bowls. But I don't even know if the New York Giants are in the position right now where they need to even be thinking about that kind of shit. You need to just get back to winning games and get a winning culture here in New York. So that's where I would view it as.
So then you kind of got to think about like, okay, well, do you want to go young? Because do you want a guy that's going to be able to be around to grow this franchise?
I mean, even if it's an older coach, he should be able to be around. It's not he's going to croak in 2 years, right? Like, you know, so I mean, even if he's an older guy, he's going to be around. But I wouldn't mind going with a younger head coach if he comes from the right coaching tree. You know, we talking McVay's world, Shanahan's world. You know, you know all about that as a Washington Commander fan. But if we're in that lane, then I would welcome some youth here at the coaching position.
I'll throw one name out who I've always liked, and he's kind of had an up and down a couple of past years. Is Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. Definitely a mixed bag. Yeah, definitely a mixed bag.
But I kind of like Joe Brady. He might be a sleeper to watch this offseason.
Got you.
Big shout out to, you got a little bit of a name change here. I can't go Lou. Lou who? Lou Mateo. It's peace to Mateo. 1111 with the $2 super chat says, we getting smoked as backwards organization. Straight to the point.
Yeah, that might be the case, Lou. You know, that's why they play the games. We'll see. I hope they surprise me, but I'm not going into this game with a lot of expectations for the New York Giants. But big shout out to my dog, Lou Mateo, man. I hope the art stuff is going well in a world where people don't fucking appreciate art. Lou Mateo is the last of a dying breed. I'd like to represent that breed as well. I think the beard represents that art beard as well. I know you got some raps in the tuck one time.
Oh, big shout out to Chislo26 with a $5 super chat. Says Slay about to have 14 targets and catch 4 of them for 200 yards and a touchdown. Now back down to earth. What's you guys' expectations going forward? Simply put, I don't think you can have expectations.
I have some expectations. I got some expectations because the Giants, you know, I tweeted this out yesterday too, and that's why it's fresh on my mind. The big 3 that they have on the offensive side of the ball and the quarterback, wide receiver, and the running back lets you at least know that they have some players that are like a part of the future going into the right direction. Sometimes building a defense, chemistry is more important than the actual personnel that you put out there on the field. We've seen teams on paper look like super teams on one side of the ball in multiple instances, and it didn't work out in that first year. And I'm looking at the Giants as, listen, if you get the right coach in here, you get some good players on both sides of the ball, this team could be right back in the mix with an easier schedule, especially next year. It's likely not going to be as difficult as this schedule was this year, which was the most difficult schedule in the last 5 years. I think the Giants could get back on track and at least start, knocking on the door of some playoffs, winning some games. This is a league of parity, and you've seen it within the division this year. Even with the Commanders. Week
to week this year in the NFL, too. Every week there's been multiple games where you're just like, how did the Packers lose to the Panthers? And then the Panthers turn around and they just lost to, I can't even remember who was awful. I mean,
did they lose to the Browns the following week maybe? I could be wrong on that, but the Browns played the Jets last week.
Yeah, there's just some weird stuff. I mean, the Jets beat the Browns last week, and it's just, you just never know out here. It's tough. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things go moving forward. But as far as expectations go this season, the end of this, the rest of this season.
Oh yeah, there can't be an expectation.
There's no expectation.
I don't even listen. The Giants could go out there and lose every game. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Right there with you. And I just want to point out to Chaz G 8489, you cannot have Marcus Freeman. Will not allow it.
A lot of people have been talking about Freeman for the New York Giants too.
Nope, can't have it. Can't have him.
I wouldn't mind going college coach either, man. A lot of people talking Lane Kiffin. It's a lot of coaches.
Wild card.
I like Lane Kiffin a lot as a coach. Like when I studied Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, that offense that everybody was like, none of this stuff's going to translate to the NFL. I was like, are you fucking kidding? All they run is RPO. That's all people do in the NFL. Yeah. I never understood that narrative, but then people trying to say like Pat Shurmur ran a pro-style offense at Colorado. Like narratives like that go around and like, they spread like wildfire to the point where like you can't even debunk it with facts. It's crazy how something like that happened because all they did was run screens at Colorado. I don't understand how that was a pro-style offense.
It wasn't really. Big shout out to J-Tech.
Oh, was that another one that just came in?
87.70 for the $5 super chat.
That just popped up, J-Tech.
If the Giants get a top 3 pick, would you consider trading down?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You got the quarterback. Any team that has a franchise quarterback should absolutely consider trading back in the draft the following year. Wherever you're at, top 10, top 15, whatever. I don't think it matters. At that point, it's like you're now trying to get the most amount of talent around said quarterback. And all those teams that are going to be, picking up at the top of the draft and sticking and picking, they're likely going to need a quarterback of some sort.
And as a team that has a quarterback that doesn't have draft picks right now, trust me, you want to trade back because draft picks are so valuable. I saw people talking about Jacoby Myers in the chat earlier, thinking about the Commanders and the Giants as being front runners to grab a guy like that at the trade deadline. But from the Commanders' perspective, you can't. You literally don't have the draft capital to do it. So those picks are become a lot more valuable than I think people think. And as we talked about in the beginning of the show, with depth, one of the biggest ways you can build depth, like that's good depth and projectable depth, is through the draft in those mid rounds.
What did y'all give up for Debo?
The Debo wasn't the bad one, really.
I'm only curious about the Debo one because the other point to hammer on here is that how many teams trade away multiple draft picks at the same position unit in one season? That doesn't happen.
Point. I think we traded one pick, I believe, a 4th round pick, and then swapped a 6th and 5th, I believe.
A pick and a swap. Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at Myers as a viable option for the Commanders because they had just traded for Debo, and you just bringing in a bunch of talent that you're going to be trading for. You'd be better off, better served heading into the draft and utilizing some day 1, day 2 draft capital on that position over than trading more draft picks for another player that is just going to cost you capital and also is an aging player as well.
And yes, I did catch that. Peace to Mateo is a quotable.
I like it. All right, you ready to get off into your game here one time?
Absolutely, sir. We're on our way to Madrid. Fire up your Duolingos, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I don't know if this is necessarily a roadmap. This is going to be like some coordinates through the air that we're going to need for this one when we get to this game.
We're taking Southwest, and it's definitely not a direct flight.
Southwest, boy. You couldn't take no Spirit flight over there one time. That shit might not make it. But let's get off into this matchup with the Commanders taking on the Miami Dolphins this week.
We're not there yet, and that's why I think in the early part of the season that identity is formed not by what's called, but how you play. And I'm watching the how a lot.
Should tell you right now, there's a realistic chance that Jaden Daniels will not play again this season.
All right, both of these teams sitting at 3-7. Kickoff is Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Madrid. Commanders by 2.5. Like it.
Not mad at it.
I like it. Might see the Beard pick the Commanders this week. Over-unders 47.5. Last week, Commanders lost to the Lions. Got blown out by the Lions, 44-22. The Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills. Surprising. That's 2 losses that the Buffalo Bills have taken this year that are extremely surprising. The Patriots, who were playing on Thursday night, and the Miami Dolphins here playing Sunday morning. But they beat the Bills 30-13. Last meeting, the Dolphins beat the Commanders 45-15 in 2023. That's a fucking blowout right there. Now, Commanders, we've talked about it a ton, are currently on a 5-game losing streak. The Dolphins have won 2 of their last 3 games, but have had 2 different 3-game losing streaks this year. 3 of the Dolphins' 7 losses have come by less than 6 points. The Dolphins have won 3 of the last 4 versus Washington, dating all the way back to 2011. Do you know the significance of 2011?
That was the year that we drafted RG3, right? The next year?
Nope. The next year. Yep. Oh. I think a lot of people in the chat might know the significance of 2011. Commanders have 1 win versus the Miami Dolphins since that 2011. There was a particular team that won the Super Bowl back then.
No, I don't know who that might have been.
It's escaping me right now. It was a 1-point victory in 2019. That's the only victory that you guys have had since 2011. Y'all beat the Miami Dolphins 17-16 in 2019. Dolphins and the Commanders both will get their bye in Week 12 after this one. I briefly looked at the ticket sales. It just kind of came up in research for the Miami Dolphins game against the New Orleans Saints. That's going to happen when they get off their bye. Tickets are starting as low as $21 for anybody in the New Orleans area. If you want to go to a cheap game, that's definitely one. Now, RTDB, man. I'm going to talk about a couple of things here. RTDB being first and STDA being second, okay?
Stop the damn 8-chain.
You damn right. Now with RTDB, the Commanders, they are 0-5 when averaging less than 5 yards per carry this season. It's dead last in the NFL. Got to find a way to get that average over 5 yards. This is basically my version of a roadmap right here. All right. The Commanders are also winless. They're 0-3 when rushing for less than 100 yards this season as a team. It's tied for worst in the NFL as well. The Commanders have the 7th best rushing attack in the NFL. And I don't know if like the numbers, like the math ain't mathing or what, but the Washington Commanders to me do not look like a top 10 rushing team in the NFL right now. And I don't know if that's just what have you done for me lately, recency bias, whatever it may be, but they are averaging 135.2 rushing yards per game. Now let's talk about stopping the damn A-chain here because I'm going to preface this by saying that Devon A-Chain is probably one of the most slept on running backs, maybe in the history of the game, because not a lot of people talk about him. When you talk about the top running backs in the league, he is not somebody he's very rarely mentioned. Right now, he's 4th in the NFL in scrimmage yards with 1,105 scrimmage yards this season. Last week, he put up 225 scrimmage yards versus the Buffalo Bills. I know that their rush defense has been absolutely terrible this year, but still, they are still the Buffalo Bills. He put up 174 rushing yards and 51 receiving yards in that game. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, A-Chain became the 3rd player in NFL history with at least 4 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns in each of his first 3 seasons. He's joining Roger Craig and Abner Haynes. I ain't too familiar with Abner Haynes. That's probably way before my time.
I think he played for he played for the before they were the Dallas Cowboys, they were
before they were the Dallas Cowboys.
There was a Dallas team. Wait, I literally had this guy's card. I'm pretty sure he played for a team in Texas. Way back, 50s, 1950s.
Got you. I figured he was an OG, but Roger Craig, I'm familiar with that era of football. And Roger Craig was basically the Marshall Faulk before Marshall Faulk. But A-Chain has 9 scrimmage touchdowns in 2025, and he could become the 4th running back since 2000 with at least 10 scrimmage touchdowns in each of his first 3 career seasons, which would be joining all straight-up fucking legends, bro. Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson, and LaDainian Tomlinson. So this dude, like I said, one of the most slept-on running backs maybe that the game has seen, at least during my time, I'll say in the modern era of football. A-Chan also, I think, will be the focal point of the Miami Dolphins offense because Tua's not playing good football right now. He leads the NFL in interceptions right now. He's
11?
one of 13. He's one of 2 quarterbacks that has more interceptions than he does passing touchdowns. So that's definitely a struggle for a guy like him. But Miami, a word from the wise. I won't say to the wise. We'll say a word from the wise. Don't let A-Chan walk in free agency. He becomes a free agent after the 2026 season. So that's going to be very important. Now, I also think early down success will be important for the Washington Commanders, who are 1-7 when allowing an average of more than 5 yards on first down plays this season. 4th worst in the NFL. They've also allowed 18 passing touchdowns on first and second down this year, 10 of them coming on first down. So early down success is going to be extremely important in this one. The Commanders' opponents are averaging 4.5 yards per carry on first down. Not quite in that New York Giants territory, but still not a good number nonetheless. And they've also allowed 9 rushing touchdowns on the season. 8 of the 9 came on first or second down. Taking care of the ball is going to be super important. The Commanders are winless when throwing at least 1 interception this season. That's worst in the NFL as well. The Dolphins have 17 turnovers on offense this season. That's worst in the NFL. These are 2 teams that either turn the ball over or don't capitalize on turning the ball over. So I do think that takeaways and giveaways are going to be important in this one. I'm leaning towards your Commanders, but as you brought up, the injuries, man, the injuries have just been absolutely terrible for them. And I just, you got Marcus Mariota coming out there this week. No Luke McCaffrey, no Terry McLaurin likely, no Noah Brown. There's just nobody to really throw the ball to. Last week it was Treylon Burks. He put up 58 yards. He's going to be out this game with the finger injury. So with all these injuries piling up, Lermy Tunsil didn't practice this week. Obviously, Jaden Daniels didn't practice this week. Terry McLaurin and Zach Ertz didn't practice this week. And Quan Martin and Frankie Louvu both limited. And you can't forget about Deron Payne, who tried to punch a player with his helmet on last week, and he's going to be suspended this week for this game as well. So how do you guys try to, push through all of these injuries and come away with a victory in Madrid?
You guys just gotta do it. This is what you get paid to do. This is what you make the big bucks for. Shout out to Abner Haynes. It was the Dallas Texans.
The Dallas Texans. So is that still the Houston franchise till this day? I wonder if that's the Houston franchise or not.
I don't know, but he played for the Dallas Texans back in the day. Speaking of injuries, we also lost our rookie quarterback Trey Amos to a broken fibula. So I think it's now 70% of our starting offense and defense have now been injured for a majority part of the season. So it's tough. And now Dan Quinn's taking over the play calling on the defensive side of the ball, as you talked about earlier to start the show. And then one thing that we talked about with the New York Giants, and what do you look at when your team is this bad? I really like Jacob Martin. I think this guy has the potential to be special. He is very raw, though. Very, very raw. But he has shown me some things working off of that edge that I think can be coached. If I think, and he has Von Miller over there too. He lacks a little bit of technique. He's not really good with the contain, which is something that we're gonna have to be able to do this week against HN because once he gets outside, there's no way. And the Dolphins love to pull their guards and their tackles too. So that's going to be something that they're going to have to find a way to combat is all that pulling that the Dolphins do. I wrote that down here 3 different times. I couldn't tell if it said contain, or wonton, but it says contain. You're going to have to find a way to contain. That's going to be huge for the Commanders in this game. Last week against the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, who is literally like one of the least mobile quarterbacks left in the NFL.
But one of the best.
Yes, don't get it wrong.
His touchdown to interception ratio this season is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Him and Matthew Stafford, which is kind of crazy. They were traded for each other.
Yeah, but listen, this is no hate on Jared Goff. This is just he was back there. Like, there was zero pressure. But
did you see the quick throws that he led the NFL last week in quick throws when he would see quick pressure? He was getting rid of the ball in like 2.2 seconds or something like that.
And they were wide. Most of the time they were wide open too. Last week was a disaster and a mess. But and Tua is like that too, though. Tua likes to get rid of the ball fast. He likes to, and this isn't a knock on Tua as well, but he likes to see what he sees at the line of scrimmage and go with that first initial read anticipation throw immediately, right? And it's become a little bit more tough this year because his guys are banged up, and he doesn't really have a lot of options. But they still have some speed. Malik Washington is a guy I really like for the Miami Dolphins. I think he has
that's Sal's boy coming out of Virginia. He was a dog, very slept on in that draft 2 years ago. And
he can do it all too. He can run the deep passes. He can do a lot of the bubble screen stuff. He returns kicks, punts, and he's very versatile. So he's a guy that worries me in that offense. Obviously, Jalen Waddle can have a field day against this Washington defense. Our defense is it's bad. Run defense, especially 10th worst in the NFL, giving up 134 plus yards per game. Third down defense, awful. 8th worst in the NFL, 42.3%.
It's so interesting to look at the flip side of you're at 132 yards rushing per game, which puts you in the top 10, but allowing around that exact same number puts you in the bottom third of the league. Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
This one right here, though. This one hurts. It's not the amount of yards that Washington has given up this year. There is no team in the NFL that has given up as many yards in this year than the Washington Commanders. And the second team is like 400, either 200 or 400 yards behind us. We have allowed 2,602 yards this year, which is hands down the most allowed of any team in the NFL. So it's at will. The drives are like, I remember at one point last week, it was like the Lions had, it was like 8 plays, 80 yards, 6 plays, 70 yards, 5 plays, 85 yards. Like it just becomes very easy. And what makes it difficult too is your defense is that bad. You can combat that sometimes if you can find a takeaway, right? If your offense is really good, which I think is what the game plan was for the Commanders this year, basically being like Jaden Daniels in this offense should be able to put up 30-plus points a week, right? But you're not getting turnovers.
You said you thought that was their game plan this year?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
I doubt it.
Obviously not the game plan. You know, it's
30,
not like,
but relying on your team to score that. If anything, the emphasis was we got to find a way to fucking stop the nosebleed on defense. Well, because last year y'all scored a ton amount of points, but defensively it's just, you can't. You're not going to win a lot of games when teams are scoring over 25 points on you per game.
No, well, this time we're not winning any of those games because it's just been bad with the injuries and not being able to score that many points. But you have the second fewest, tied for the second fewest takeaways in the NFL with 6. I believe we're tied with you guys in the Green Bay Packers, I believe, in that category. But there's a couple of things offensively. I was clamoring for Chris Rodriguez when Austin Eckler went down. I wanted Chris Rodriguez to get the bulk of the carries. Right? It's nothing against Bill. I say this all the time. I like Bill. I like Bill's story. I think Bill's a great running back. I don't know if Bill is a every down running back. I just don't yet. I don't.
None of those guys on your team are an every down running back right now.
Obviously.
Even when healthy, none of those guys are an every down running back.
But I like Chris Rodriguez to be the guy to handle the bulk of the carries moving forward. I think he gives you the best chance to be successful in the run game right now of all the running backs. And that's not a knock on Bill.
I think this one's going to come back to bite you a little bit.
You think Bill goes off in this game?
No, I just don't think y'all have a capable running back to really lead the stable. You guys seem like the kind of team
somebody has to run the ball.
Nah, you just go with the hot hand. Look how the Giants doing it with Tyron Tracy and Devin Singletary. One week is Singletary, he comes out there, he's averaging 5 yards a carry. Next week, they're like, hey, we don't care what you did last week.
Well, right now, the hot hand is Rodriguez, okay? Rodriguez's hands is hot. I think Rodriguez deserves the bulk of the carries. And we have to find a way to finish drives because I feel like I'm watching a game and I'm like, all right, offense is clicking, we might have a chance. And then we get down to the red zone and it's a penalty, it's a fumble, it's an interception, and it all goes to hell in a handbag. And literally, I hate to say it, but in order for the Commanders to try to win games, you're going to have to score every drive. That's it. There's no other way to put it. You're going to have to find a way to score every drive. The Burks injury sucks because he looked like I was like, man, this guy, you forget. This guy's a first-round draft pick for a reason. He has talent. It just hasn't all come together for him. And he looked like he was a guy that Mariota was throwing the ball to. I don't even know what happened to his finger. These injuries have been crazy. So
he had to get a surgery on that.
Had to have surgery on the finger. So I don't know, maybe Robbie Chosen revenge game? I don't know.
Wouldn't bank on it.
Listen, I'm trying to find something here.
Has Chosen gotten any receptions?
Yeah.
1 for 17 last week. And your boy Chris Rodriguez, 2.7 yards per carry last week against the Detroit Lions. He had 65 the week before as your leading rusher. I don't know about him being the hot hand right now.
Just know, I know. Okay, this is the beard telling you he's the guy. He's the guy.
Chris Rodriguez is the guy.
Chris Rodriguez, monster game incoming. And I found a way.
Good defense to do it against, I'd say.
Their run defense has been really good though. So the run defense for the Dolphins was horrible to start the year, and that was one of the things. A lot of people thought that the Miami Dolphins defense was going to be pretty damn good this year. But over the course of the last, I'd say 4 weeks or so, they have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. And they've gone up against some really good running backs, too. And
Buffalo last week.
Yep. Falcons, Bijan Robinson. They held Bijan Robinson
for as good as Bijan is.
Yards.
The Falcons, they're fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Too many lackluster games from Bijan Robinson for a guy that has that kind of capability.
he'll go for like 260 yards from scrimmage, and then the next week he'll go for like 45, 50 yards from scrimmage. I don't have an answer for that. But
and every year people keep saying the Falcons are going to be a Super Bowl contender. I'm just like, they don't got the dogs, man. Darnell Mooney, bro. We got to start giving up on wide receivers like that, bro.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Although
you can't keep thinking that guy's a wide receiver 2.
He might be a wide receiver 1 at this point on the watch.
On both of our teams. He'd probably be on both our teams, but those guys are just such, I don't know, man. They're going to trick you into paying them every fucking time, and they just don't produce enough.
I think they drafted well defensively. The Falcons did this last draft. I love Xavier Watts has been one of the best defensive draft picks out of, and I'm not just saying that because he's a Notre Dame guy, but he's been one of the best defensive draft picks of the season. Xavier Watts has for the Atlanta Falcons, and then obviously they drafted James Pierce and Jalen Walker as well. So they got some young guys on that defense. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
The Falcons did put up 168 on the ground on them, though.
168 on the ground?
I believe so.
No.
I take that back. Nope. I take that back. It was under 60 yards.
You just messed up my entire formula that I spent all this time crafting. Yeah. I do have this is a special edition air map. If you guys are ready.
Air map.
Shout out to Monique. She said the bags fly for, not only do bags fly for free on Southwest now, you get to pick your seat. We're moving up on the world. So do we do our seatbelt like this week since we're flying?
Sure.
All right. Ready?
Oh, let's go this way. Yeah. All right, let's get it. So this is a road coordinates sponsored by Watson.
Air map.
Air map?
Air map.
I've never heard that term my entire life. All right, let's get into it.
Your boy has been in the lab cooking up a recipe to get us from Washington, D.C. to Madrid and back with a big old W.
I don't like how hype you are right now going up against a 3-win team. Continue.
All right, here we go. Stop number 1 in JFK Airport is going to be hold the Dolphins to 27 points or less. Okay, and every single one of the Miami Dolphins
27,
victories,
Brody.
and every single one of
he was reaching in the research department for this one.
The Dolphins,
27. Hey, we gotta not allow 20. Imagine your defensive coordinator coming out there like, guys, listen, this is gonna be the plan this week. We cannot allow 27 points this week, y'all.
In all 3 games that the Dolphins have won, they have scored 27 or more points, okay? So we got us to hold them to under 27 points, all right? In the 3 wins this year, they scored 27, 34, and 30. All right, up next, we have to hold the Dolphins to under 153 yards rushing, okay?
That's the number that the Giants are allowing per game this year.
In all 3 Miami Dolphins victories, they have ran for an average of 153 yards rushing. Okay? Up next, we have to win the turnover battle. In the 3 wins for the Miami Dolphins this year, they have a +5 turnover differential. They have forced 7 turnovers in 3 games and have only had 2 turnovers themselves. Okay? Up next, you got to find a way to sack Tua. You got to get to Tua. There's hot Tua and then there's sack Tua, okay? We got to sack Tua. In the 3 wins this year, the Miami Dolphins wins, Tua has only been sacked 1 time, okay? And last but certainly not least, we have to have 1 running back, preferably Chris Rodriguez, who has to run for more than 53 yards.
I knew you would keep that number low. I knew.
In every the Miami Dolphins wins, they are allowing their running backs, which has been Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and James Cook, to rush for an average of 53 yards. So in order to beat them, we need to have 1 running back run for more than 53 yards.
Okay.
Quite the air map there, huh?
Whatever the fuck an air map is. Fucking air map. All right, you picking your Commanders?
Hell yeah. Washington Commanders 30, Miami Dolphins 27.
This is going to be the one that breaks you. If y'all don't win this game, 6 straight losses, this will be the one that breaks you. Did y'all hear that roadmap? That roadmap called for holding them to under 153 rushing yards per game.
That's 27 points. And I picked them to score 27. It's 30 to 27.
Now, I need to see how many carries Bijan Robinson had against them to see if I'm going to pick you guys. 9 rushes for 25 yards. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Miami Dolphins.
That makes sense.
I think it's going to be a little bit too much for you guys. You know, defensively, your team is just not good enough. I like what Marcus Mariota is bringing to the table from the quarterback position. He's been playing some pretty decent football. 2 of the interceptions on the year. I think he's got 4 on the year, and 2 of them were definitely not his fault in the same game. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins, though. I just think that right now they're striding, and you guys are kind of declining. And they're a lot more healthier than you guys are. So I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one. I don't think it'll be an egregiously high-scoring game because these overseas games just tend to be a little funky. Field is always an issue. The pitch, always an issue.
Well, we're in Madrid. It's going to be nice.
You think it's going to be nice?
I have no idea.
I'm going to remember this because every time I see it, whether it be Germany, London, I don't give a fuck where they playing at, the field is always fucked up.
That's basically Seattle without a dome, all those other places you mentioned. Madrid sounds like white sand, you know.
What was your score?
30 to 27.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and book that no team gets over 30 points in this game, and I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins win it. We're going to go 26-19.
So they don't score 27 points, and we still lose?
I mean, 27 points, you think that's the number?
That is the number.
They could beat y'all with 16 maybe if they play right defensively.
No.
Y'all offense ain't clicking.
Clicking enough to score at least 20 points.
What y'all averaging in the last 3 games here?
I don't know, 20.
Let's take a peek at that real quick.
20.3.
20.3.
I'm just go out on a limb and say we're averaging 20.3 over the last couple of games.
That's not good enough.
It's not.
Let's see.
22 last week. All right. That's a good start to my 20.3.
A lot of garbage time.
Listen, there's no such thing in the NFL.
I know your beliefs. I respect them. All right. Let's see. Scoring defense here. Or no, we're looking at scoring offense. Sorry.
Oh.
Points per game over the last 3 games. Washington Commanders are averaging. That can't be right. 14.3 points per game.
No, that's not right. There's no way that's right. 14 points over the last 3 games? That doesn't make sense. No way. It's not right.
NFL points per game. NFL
22,
team points per
22
game.
last week, right? The week
We
before that is 14.
established that part.
That's 36. And the week before that was 7. So I forgot about that game.
Now we about to redo the math that Team Rankings does one time.
33 divided by 3.
Yeah, so 20. Let's go. This is the wrong way.
It's 14.3 points per game.
5 losses. Yeah, 22, 14, and 7.
I forgot about that 7 burger.
Each week, y'all score an extra touchdown. It goes from 7 to 14 to 22. So maybe you get to 28 this week, right?
Listen, 30 to 27. Washington Commanders doing the flamenco dance, going to a bullfighting match.
Flamenco dance.
And we're winning.
All right.
Going home.
You want to make a little bet?
No.
All right. No bets.
Save our bets for everybody's favorite segment after, obviously, the air map segments is going to be the human soundboard.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did you have something for me?
Wait a minute.
Shout out to the graphics department.
I just wanted to make sure we got the super chats out the way.
Oh, okay. Are we being cooked?
This is when you're supposed to be like, rapid fire.
I thought that was the Giants and the Commanders being put on the grill. But okay.
With a Zippo?
This is time for rapid fire.
He's a little fast.
We should have
He'll
fire.
get
We need
We'll
fire.
get his timing. We'll get his timing down.
We need fire coming up from the bottom of the screen, bro.
Nah, let's chill.
Shout out
Let's,
to the
let's
graphics
chill. This ain't a
department.
TikTok channel. All right.
Up first is going to be the Detroit Lions. They are 6-3. They are headed to Philadelphia to face the Eagles, who are 7-2. The Eagles are 2.5-point favorites. The over/under in this game is a surprisingly low 46.5. Kickoff is Sunday night at 8:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic. Tell me what you got.
I'm telling you what I got. I'm gonna need you to look at the order. The games is listed in on the joint.
Oh, I thought we were just gonna. I just thought
playing.
we were on the same page here.
Clearly not.
Clearly
All
not.
right.
I mean, listen. That is not on me. That's on the graphics department. This is Sunday night. Dallas plays Monday night.
Hey, just saw it in the order here. You know what I mean? The guys play Thursday night. That one's last. So I mean,
Always last. Thursday's always last.
Kind of goes in reverse order here. Eagles, number 1 seed in the NFC right now. Detroit Lions, number 3 seed. This gonna be a good game. And cold, ugly win for the Eagles last week against the Packers, but Jalen Hurts has been solid, like really solid. 16 touchdowns, 1 interception on the season, 5 rushing touchdowns over the last 3 weeks, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His lone interception came against ours truly, the New York Giants. And Hurts has multiple passing touchdowns in 5 out of his 9 games this season. This is a tough one to gauge because of what happened last week. Detroit coming off of 500-plus yards against you guys. The Eagles held Jordan Love and the Packers to just 7 points last week. So I don't know which version of the Eagles defense we're going to get. I did like seeing, what's my dog, Jalen Phillips come into the lineup early on and make plays. You don't see that much. You don't see a player get traded to a team and then 3 days later, first quarter, this guy's making plays already.
Except for Baker
Saquon.
Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker does that too. I'll remove quarterback because at quarterback, you're going to make plays, right? You might fuck up a little bit too, but you're going to make some plays. But very rare a defensive end gets traded and comes out there and TFL on the first fucking play. That was a great look. But Saquon's still struggling in a major way. 4 games, under 2.8 yards per carry for Saquon this year. Just 2 games with 20 rushing attempts on the season. A.J. Brown still diva's going diva, and he's still diva. And I saw him on a clip on Twitter where this guy was playing Madden with one of his homies and said, hey, anybody out there that has me on their fantasy team, you might as well remove me from your fantasy team because we're basically cooked right now. But you're looking at the team that is the number 1 seed in the NFC currently right now. I think if the Eagles defense can tame the Lions, maybe keep them under 24 points, they'll have a good chance at winning this game. But if the Lions get over 24 points, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions. And I think that's what's going to happen in this one. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles will get their 2nd loss of the season. And, the NFL community can get back to saying, this ain't the same Eagles team. They're not clicking, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll see them in the playoffs doing what they do.
All right. Well, I'm right there with you. Listen, I thought the Eagles should have lost that game against the Packers, and I did pick the Packers to win. I think the Eagles are a better team than what they played last week. But I do think there is a little bit of inconsistency with this Eagles team, and I feel like I'm going to use the Dolphins ideology you used against me and for the Commanders against the Eagles here. I think the Lions are trending in the right direction after that loss against the Minnesota Vikings. I think they showed a good bounce-back game, albeit against an inferior competition in the Washington Commanders. I think that's a good little bounce-back game for them to prep them for this Eagles game. I think the Lions find a way to eke this one out. I got the Lions 27, the Philadelphia Eagles 24.
I do feel like this game is going to tell you a lot about your Commanders. And not that you might not already know this, but if the Eagles come out here and they handle the Lions, the Commanders are a bad team.
I think I know that we're a bad team.
Yeah, that's why I said it'd be some stuff you already kind of know. But, you want some confirmation? That'll give you some confirmation because you would think that, the effort that the Commanders put forth against the Detroit Lions, I mean, granted, they got blown out, but, still you scored 22 points on offense. The Lions are a very shaky team this year, and we don't quite know who they are yet. We know they're a good team. We don't know if they're a great team just yet.
Very true. We do know that both of these teams are not great teams. That is the Dallas Cowboys, who are 3-5-1. They are headed to Vegas to face the Raiders. who are not a good team either. They're 2-7. The Cowboys are only favored by 3.5 points. The over-under in this game is a surprising. This tells you how bad the Cowboys defense is according to Vegas, because the Cowboys are favored by 3.5 and the over-under is 50.5. So you're telling me basically that the Raiders are going to score a lot of more points than they have in any game this season against the Dallas Cowboys. Authentic, this game kicks off Monday at 8:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell me what you got.
Putting the kickoff time a minute later is just absolutely ridiculous. The Raiders, currently on a 3-game losing streak. They started 2025 with the win versus the New England Patriots, which was kind of interesting, a team that has won 7 straight now, but that was followed by 4 straight losses. Their only other win was against the Tennessee Titans. The Raiders are a bad team, but their offense is fucking terrible. Their defense is kind of holding it together. Their offense has been absolutely terrible, and the things that they brought in, the personnel that they brought in to try to correct some of those issues, new coach in Pete Carroll, new quarterback in Geno Smith, and a new running back in Ashton Genty, all of those things have not been working the way that they expected them to work. 15.4 points per game is 31st in the NFL right now. That's less points than the Giants scored last year per game. 28th ranked red zone offense in the league. 3.7 yards per carry for an Ashton Genty-led running back room. That's 27th in the NFL, and just 87.4 rushing yards per game. You can imagine that's down there in the bottom 3 in the NFL. Geno Smith, I can't sit up here and say, what is it?
Is he going to play?
I don't know if he's going to play or not, but Geno Smith, I can't sit up here and tell you that Geno Smith is a bad quarterback right now. I do think that the environment change absolutely affected him. The offensive change, the weapons, going from having guys on the outside making plays to then relying on a tight end to be your number one passing threat. Geno has the second most interceptions in the NFL right now at 12. Tua has 13. And it wasn't Tua who had more interceptions than touchdowns. It's actually Geno Smith and J.J. McCarthy are the only 2 starting quarterbacks with more interceptions than they have touchdowns. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, the offense is not necessarily the problem, and they are scoring some points, and they're staying in games for the most part. But the Cowboys are coming into Week 11 on a 2-game losing streak right now, their first losing streak of the season. So I know that the Cowboys are not a great team, but we're still trying to figure out if they can be a good team right now because they don't have back-to-back losses. Outside of the last 2 weeks, they hadn't had back-to-back losses on the entire season, sitting at 3-5-1. Dak Prescott has an interception in each of the last 2 weeks, which is big part. He's playing great football, but he is not in a position where he can turn the ball over. And another theme here, the Giants game is the only game that the Cowboys won where Dak turned the ball over. So all it is in this game is Dak, just stay clean, bro. Don't turn the ball over, and I think you guys got a good chance to win this game as far as the Dallas Cowboys go. They're still kind of in the hunt right now. They're in 11th place in the NFC, 2 games back of the Green Bay Packers, who are sitting in the 7th seed right now.
So we're good then. If they're in it, we're in it.
You guys are actually 14th in the NFC right now. So your chances are at 1%. The Dallas Cowboys' chances are a bit higher than that. But I'm not here to kill your hope. You have hope. I told you, I respect your religious beliefs when it comes to the football gods, okay? But I just think that if Dak goes out here, doesn't turn the ball over, this should be a pretty easy victory. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. I'm taking the under on the point total, though.
We were talking about this last week for a Thursday night game, and we were talking about the Broncos and the Raiders and like all the sacks, and like we were like, oh, Aiden O'Connell might end up being the quarterback. It's not Aiden O'Connell. It's Kenny Two Gloves Pickett.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is Kenny Pickett who got traded over there at the beginning of the year.
over there playing quarterback. So they played tough against the Broncos.
Where's Aiden O'Connell? Is
he's injured? He's injured.
He's injured. Okay, but he's still with the Raiders.
Yep.
Got you. I figured.
So they played well against the Broncos, and I know how Authentic feels about the Broncos.
Fugazi.
Yeah, Fugazi.
Good coaching though, and they do got those players that'll get you over that hump in late in those games too.
Yeah. So I don't think that. I think the Cowboys' offense is actually a bit better than the Broncos' offense. So I think that the Cowboys should win this game easily. But every time I pick the Cowboys in a game the Cowboys should win, they lose. So
I don't know if there should win games, right?
Arizona Cardinals?
Is that a should win game?
They should have won that game, yes. If you want to be in the hunt, you got to beat the Cardinals.
And they got beat pretty bad, too. I mean, that defense, has you walking into each week, and you just can't think that the Cowboys have any games really that they should win with that defense. Running game's looking good. Javonte Williams right in the middle of the pack.
You know me. I told everybody, I said Javonte Williams might have been the best offseason signing of anybody in the NFC East this year. Like, it's kind of crazy. The Cowboys should be better. They should be better, but that defense is so bad. Trading Micah Parsons is just
it's crazy because the trade didn't even hurt them as much as I thought it would. The defense was bad when he was there.
Yeah, well,
couldn't stop the run for
bad,
shit.
Though.
And now I look at Kenny Clark coming in has helped. They pulled from one asset to pay another, right? And that's where it kind of fucked up because their interior has looked a little bit better, but the defense is terrible. I mean, they're just allowing people to score all over them, and they got to revamp that secondary. It's about time to move on from some players.
Yeah, how many points do you think Vegas puts up in this game?
You never know with Geno Smith if he plays. That's the thing too, because he can have those kind of games. But I would say like 16, 17 points.
I'm gonna pick the Dallas Cowboys 27, Raiders 13.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys in basically a blowout, like 34-16, something like that.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys can get a win out there. Shout out Gregory, Monique, and Kai. We love you guys.
Facts.
Up next, the New York Football Jets won a football
don't
game
do that.
last. They won a football game last week.
2 in a row now.
2 in a row. I think they had 2 defensive touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, last week.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they were two. They were one of 3 teams to have 2 defensive touchdowns last week. Shout out to
It's crazy after trading away, good chunk of their talent.
DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks last week, by the way, which is crazy. So they're 2-7. They're headed up to New England to Gillette Stadium for the Patriots, who have the easiest schedule in NFL history. Therefore, they're 8-2. The Patriots are 12.5-point favorites. The over/under in this game is 42.5. Kickoff is at 8:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Jets won last week, won the week before that. They started out 0-7, man, and they were sellers at the deadline, and now they've won 2 straight games. I mean, that's kind of impressive for the coach, at least. You're taking away his talent from a general manager standpoint, or maybe Glenn wanted those guys to fuck up out of there. Who truly knows? Maybe they didn't fit the culture, but Justin Fields threw his first interception of the season last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's not, I think Justin Fields is getting a little bit of unnecessary scrutiny, because he's not playing great football by any means. But when you have a quarterback on a bad team like that lacks weapons, and the running game is not able to aid the quarterback, considering not too bad, 9 total touchdowns and 1 interception, that's not that bad. But the Patriots are playing some really good football. And you talked about the easy schedule, but they do have 2 impressive victories in that winning streak there. They did beat the Bucs last week, 28-23. Drake May has just been on fire as of late. 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,555 yards, the 5th best QBR in the NFL at 72.9. 7 straight victories, tied with the Denver Broncos for the longest active winning streak in the NFL right now. And explosive plays is the way that the Jets could stay in this game. If they can limit the explosive plays from the New England Patriots offense, they'll be in this game. They'll cover. You can guarantee it. But explosive plays last week was a big reason why the Patriots won their game. Travion Henderson. And there was a bunch of rumors that the New England Patriots were going to trade for a running back at the deadline. I believe Pretty Ricky even reported that as well, but they didn't go out there and get a running back.
No, it's been a weird situation because Travion Henderson was in the doghouse.
Yeah, because he was playing like shit.
Yeah, for the beginning of most of the season. In the last 3 weeks, 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's had really big games. So it'll be interesting to see how they maneuver that. Ramondre Stevenson's a little banged up. Obviously, Antonio Gibson went on the IR. So I'm assuming that they're going to ride the hot hand like every other team right now.
Yeah, I mean, the hot hand is not Chris Rodriguez, by the way. But Travion Henderson, they broke history last week with their rookies. Travion Henderson had a run of 55 yards, 69 yards as well. Kyle Williams had the big 72-yard reception for a touchdown. Patriots became the 4th team ever with 3 touchdowns of 50 or more yards by rookies in the same game. So those explosive plays are definitely coming from their youth. And as a New York Giants fan, I look at the Patriots, and I actually made some comparisons to Drake May with Jackson Dart this past week. I never thought that this tweet was going to blow up the way that it did, but as soon as the Patriots community got a hold of this tweet where I was saying, look at some of these runs from Drake May where he's not, protecting his body, like some of the other quarterbacks in the league, looking a little bit more like Jackson Dart. But the thing about Drake May is he's just fortunate enough to be healthy this year. But look back to last season when he was dealing with concussions, running the ball, not protecting his body, very similar situation to Jackson Dart and the New York Giants, and just getting their youth to perform the way that they are as of late is a big part in why they're winning. And also, a lot of people told me Stephon Diggs was washed.
He's been playing great ball. Man,
He's been playing great ball.
Hell of a catch. That toe tap catch he had. That was a good touchdown. I think it was the first touchdown of the game last week.
Yeah, and Diggs on the year, man, 3 touchdowns in 10 games, 50 receptions at the 10-game mark, 554 yards. That does not look washed to me. That if we got those numbers out of Darius Slayton for the entire season, we would feel good about that. But I think it's really tough to tell if the Patriots are ready right now to be a contender or are they a pretender, because you talked about the easy schedule, but some of the wins are just against some lackluster competition. But you look at it, Cleveland, Tennessee, New Orleans Saints, Carolina, and the Miami Dolphins are all teams that are at the bottom of each of their respective divisions. And then a win against the Atlanta Falcons, very impressive wins against the Bills and the Bucks. I think it's still hard to determine what kind of team this is. And going up against the Jets, we're not going to really learn much. But I'm taking the Patriots in this one. I think they'll win. But I do think that if the Jets can limit the explosive plays, they'll cover that spread. You said it was at 12.5?
12.5.
Yeah, I think they'll cover that 12.5, but give me the Patriots to win this one.
I also like the Patriots to win this one, but you never know. This is one of those games that's like Dolphins versus the Bills, right? AFC East matchup, bottom of the division versus the top of the division, and look what happened. So
yeah,
Patriots are definitely on upset watch. They're on upset alert here. I know it's on the road for the Jets, but just keep an eye out.
I think we got to find a way to just redo the way that they do the schedules. The Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots, I don't want to throw shade at them in a major way, right? But those two teams are not as good as their record indicates. And I know the whole saying, Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. But in this case, if these two teams go into the playoffs and then they get bounced in the first round, it's not going to surprise nobody.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's difficult because you can only play who's in front of you, right? But
that's why they got to change that, though.
Yeah.
The Giants' fourth place schedule being the most difficult in the entire National Football League, and then having to look at the Patriots and the Colts who have a fourth place schedule that literally looks like they're lining up the easiest team for them each week. I just think that's not fair. It's not the philosophy and the however they calculate to create the schedules is just not fair. And you look at the Giants playing in the NFC East, and every year we're having to go up against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys twice a year, and our record against them since Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen have got here is 2-14. I just don't think that that's fair to the rest of the league. And then when you get to the playoffs, you're wondering why teams like the Denver Broncos get bounced in the first round.
And then also you got to look at a team like the Buffalo Bills, who play a first-place schedule, but it's one of the easiest first-place schedules I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's just not a good look. And I think that we need to look at the division. The division winners, or the teams that win within a division, that needs to be weighed out in comparison to every other division. If the New York Giants are respectively in a division that had the Philadelphia Eagles were 13 game win or 13 games won last season. Y'all won 12 last season, right?
Yeah.
And the Dallas Cowboys won 7 or 8, I believe. I think it was 7 for the Dallas Cowboys. The total number of wins within the division should be factored in, because the Giants, being a team that had the number 3 overall selection, but then having the toughest schedule in the league, it's just not fair.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I agree. So I'm going to take the Patriots to win 29-16. And don't forget, if you guys are not already, follow @Authentic, @TimWalkOnWater2 on Twitter. We will be releasing. We are right in line with the Commanders and the Giants on a losing streak right now. But listen, tonight might be the night we turn things back around. We got really close last week.
And the week before, man.
And the week before. But listen, there's been a couple of stinkers these last couple of games. The Broncos-Raiders game was what was it, 13-10 or final score or something like that? So, we gotta bounce back this week. Gotta bounce back this week. So make sure you guys check us out on Twitter. We will be releasing that parlay. Big shout out to Monique with the $1.99
I feel like her name changed mid-show.
Says, this not good team beat the Commanders 44-22. Listen, we're not passing out medals.
I think she's talking about the Detroit Lions. Right?
No, I think the Cowboys beat us 44-22 also.
Damn, y'all had identical scores?
Yeah, we lost to the Cowboys 44-22, and we lost to the Lions 44-22.
Monique, I'm going to need you to put some quotes, around your super chats here.
I'm just double checking. I'm going to double check, so I'm not like crazy.
I got it right here.
Yeah, we lost 44-22 2 times this year.
Yeah. Well, the Commanders aren't a good team, Monique. So
exactly, right? That's what I'm saying. We're not passing out medals for not good teams beating not good teams. It's okay. I pick you guys to win.
You said that the Dallas Cowboys were not a good team. I tried to give a little opening that was like,
maybe they're.
No, I said they're not. We know they're not a great team, but maybe they're a good team.
That's basically saying they're not a good team.
No, that's not. That's not. If I say, hey, the New York Giants are maybe a good team, that does not mean they're a bad team. Lost the beard. Look, the football gods were like, nah, we ain't gonna let you be out here bojangling like that. I don't even know if the beard's gonna make it back. Should we just leave him up here? Maybe I should full screen him. There, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, I hit a wire.
Yeah, definitely Commanders aren't a good team. On record, Dallas Cowboys, I don't know if they are a good team yet.
I know. They're not a good team.
I mean, listen, if they go out there and they win, let's say 9 games on the year, that's a good team.
There's no way that the Dallas Cowboys win 9 games this year.
It's possible.
So
with their tie, I would even be willing to say that 8 wins would put them as a good team too. So we disagree on this one. No reason to go back and forth on it, but I think that the Cowboys are kind of like knocking on that door with a couple of wins, could be back in that category of being a good team, but defensively it's been tough for them. But shout out to Monique. We appreciate you helping us raise the bar over here one time.
They got a tough schedule too.
Yeah.
They got after the Raiders, they got Eagles, Chiefs, Lions. They're in the next 3 games after that.
Yeah, that's probably three L's.
And then they got Vikings, Chargers, and then Commanders.
Those teams Giants. don't put fear in my eyes at all. Chargers are fugazi, just like the Broncos are, in my opinion. And then Vikings, they're not a good team. Y'all aren't a good team. And then what was it?
You guys.
We're definitely not a good team. That's 4 wins right there.
Okay.
They got 3 right now. That's 7 right there. So that, they're not winning 9. I'm going to remember this show when they do win 9 games. But I want to put that number at 8, actually. I want to put it at 8 because I forgot about their tie, bro. Like, there's just not a lot of games left. So if they were to win 9 games, right, they would have to win 6 of their last, 7 games? 8 games?
Yeah. Basically.
Come on, man. That's not fair. That 8. If they get to 8 wins, they're a good team. That's on my definition of it, at least. But that's going to do it, man. Any last words for the gang before we get up out of here?
Don't leave your passport in the hotel room. It's not good.
Don't leave your passport in the hotel room is the Beard's advice to you guys.
Because we're coming back with a W from Madrid, baby. $30-27.
30-20. See how he put his hands on his hips and everything for that shit. 30-27. All right. I'm rooting for y'all, man. I got no reason to be hating against y'all, man. Go out there and get this W.
This might be the only other game we win this year outside of you guys. So,
see, now I can't root for you no more. So, all right, guys. That's going to do it for our time here on Authentic and the Beard. The Beard is throwing big shade at me, shooting just strays. I'm just catching strays up here for no fucking reason right now. But salute to the gang, man. We appreciate all y'all pulling up, rocking out with us. Make sure to check me out on Bleach Report Sunday, immediately following the New York Giants game. Then we'll be back here on Monday for a Giant Overreaction. And then back for another preview show. And then November's going to be winding down. Thanksgiving will be here. And then we'll be talking about Hard Knocks over here. So, yeah, I know that excites the Beard. Doesn't excite me as much. But it's been a while for him.
Because it's been such a bad season so far.
Yeah.
I need some excitement in my life,
You're not going to get it from the Commanders, but y'all know how we end every show over here on Authentic in the Beard. Keep raising that bar, keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound, and a life without dreams is a life in black and white. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT and New York legend Combat Jack. And that is a wrap. We will catch y'all on the flip side. We appreciate all the support y'all have shown us throughout this season, with our two teams having a combined 5 victories in 2025. Y'all stay blessed. Enjoy y'all football tonight. Make sure you turn it on Prime Vision. Best of luck in your fantasy leagues, and keep your eyes peeled out for the parlay we'll be releasing on Twitter. Y'all be easy, man. Catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
Spike don't care.